was a part of his life that he's regretting, and that is that he trusted the wrong people. And I see that because the person who had killed him was somebody that he knew, unfortunately.
Yep, he was murdered.
Wow.
Where are you guys from?
Louisville, North Carolina.
Well, first of all, there's a couple souls that are here, all right? And first of all, I believe I'm with your husband, actually. This is your parents that are here. And this is your mother that's stepping forward to speak. She says to me, Matt, I want to apologize. She says to my son for everything that he had to see here in this world. She says, because Matt, she goes, my health was no joke. I would get sick and I would try to recuperate. She goes, and then I would get sick again. And then your mom shows me that at the end, I literally feel like I'm drowning because she talks about her not being able to breathe at the end when I'm speaking to her. She says, and Matt, she goes, my son was my everything. Your mom says to me that she wants to thank you for the way that you stopped so much of your life to be there for her. And more importantly, that this was the hardest thing that you had to go through here in this world. She's telling me that your dad was there to greet her. And she's also saying to me, she goes, Matt, she goes, me and my son, after my husband had died, she says, we had a very different bond and a very different relationship. She says, the moment that his father had passed, she says to me, I was so worried about what was going to happen to me. And your mom wants to thank you for the way that you stepped up to the plate to be there for her. And she wants to thank you for the way that you took care of her here in the physical world. Your mom is telling me when I'm connecting with her, there was some financial issues that she was going through here in this world before her passing.
Yes.
Do you know she wants to thank you for writing checks for her? You didn't want your mom to know this. She says to me, Matt, he hid this from me. He hid this from me. And then she would show me all these checks that I see that are written out. And she kept saying, am I going to be okay? Is there money in the bank? And you kept saying to her, Mom, you're fine. You're fine. You got money. You got money. She goes, he was writing checks, Matt. He was writing checks. Your mom says to me, she wants to thank you. She says, because he took money out of his own pocket, Matt, just to take care of me. And she says to me, the one thing that she wants you to know on the other side is that you lived up to every expectation that she could have had for you as a son. She says, the one thing that she wants you to know is that even though she was so afraid to die, and even though she was so afraid to go the other side, this is proof and validation that she is here and that she's with you. And also, when I'm connecting, there's also a young boy that's here as well that also passed, that she's bringing through. He just said to me, he goes, Matt, that's my dad. And right away, he wants to thank you all for the way that you're doing things with his clothes, because he shows me his clothes when I'm connecting. And he tells me you're making something out of them.
I'm going to make a couple of blankets for his children.
Shut the hell up. So first of all, know that that's his way of acknowledging that on the other side. And he wants to thank you for what you plan on doing. And by the way, when he's coming through, all I smell, your son has a million different colognes on here in this world when I'm speaking to him. Like, I smell all these different colognes. I'm like, what the hell is it that you're wearing? He's like, I don't know, Matt. I just sprayed myself with stuff. He says,
he had a collection.
I know that this was unexpected, and I know that you're here for answers. And it's actually your mother, sir, that's pushing your son through to speak. Because your mother, she was a sweet lady, but she was also tough.
Oh, yeah.
And your mother's making me laugh. Sorry. I love it when spirit comes through with their personality. Your mother goes to me. She goes, Matt, she goes, listen, she goes, don't let my son fool you. He might look big and tough. She goes, but he was afraid of me. That's what she says.
Story.
Yeah, she goes, I'm the only one he feared. She goes, because I stood up to even the men. Can I tell you everything?
Yes, please.
He's telling me that he experimented here with some type of drugs or some type of substance because he's acknowledging that. I don't know exactly what it was, but he's showing me that. And he says to me, Matt, I was trying to clean up my life, but I was using this as a lifeline. He's showing me that there was a part of his life that he's regretting. And that is that he trusted the wrong people. And I see that. He keeps saying to me, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done this. I made a mistake.
He was murdered.
Wow, he was murdered.
Why did somebody think at first it was suicide?
He had a couple suicide attempts before he got off drugs.
Okay. Your son was showing me addiction issues that he was having. He shows me that you two stepped in to try to help his kids and try to be there for his children. He also shows me that you were being there for him. He also shows me that you were very nervous of him committing suicide. I see that coming up. He shows me that that's something that you were on him all the time. That's the reason why you were calling him and texting him. And you were literally living his life for him. He's showing me that the person who had killed him was somebody that he knew, unfortunately.
Yep.
And that's what's so tough.
He was with his girlfriend at the person's house, and he was in a car when the guy came out and shot at the car.
He says to me when I'm connecting with him, he says, Matt, he goes, I'm going to let you know one thing. He says, I want to let you know that there was no way that I was going to survive this. And can I just talk to his girlfriend in the back, please? Because he said to me that he does not want you to have survivor's guilt because you did the right thing. You weren't sure. Do I bring him to the hospital? Do I bring him to his mother? What do I do? What do I do? The one thing that he wants to thank you for is the way that you fought for justice for him here in this world. That's what he wants to thank you for. He goes, and more importantly, for the way that you preserved my legacy, the way that you tried to get my life on track. Because he says to me, this was not an easy thing, Matt. He goes, my life was filled with ups and downs. But he says, these people right here are the people that I loved the most. He says, and my family was there beside me every single day. He wants to thank you for the way that you took on his children, for the way that you're raising his kids. He says to me, because my children now have more than one mom and dad, and he's acknowledging that. He says, and the one thing that he wants to thank you for is for the love that you had given him. He says, you know, Matt, he goes, I want them all to know that this was something that I never thought would happen to me because I trusted so many people. And that was my biggest downfall. I may have had my quirks, but I was a very sensitive person and I trusted everybody and I loved everybody. He goes, and my own sensitivities and what I thought about others caused me my passing. That's what he tells me.
Yeah.
Can I talk to you, to his girlfriend over there? Know that one of the things is that he says to me when I'm connecting with him, he just wants you to know how much that he loves you, because he tells me you talked about getting married and you're supposed to get married. And you said we were supposed to get married. And now instead I'm planning a funeral. He says to me, he does not want this to ruin your life because he asked you to drive him to that house. Is that not correct? Yep. So know that that's his way of acknowledging, listen, you know how he was. If you didn't drive him that night, he would have gotten in the car and driven himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So he says to me, listen, thank God you were there because you being there gave him a chance at living. That's what you did. He also apologizes because he put you in harm's way as well. And that's the one thing how I know that this was not planned, because he says to me, I would have never, ever put her in harm's way.
That's right.
True.
He also just said to me, thank you for the balloons. Did you let balloons off in the air?
Lanterns, yeah.
Oh, lanterns. Perfect.
Yeah.
He's shown me in heaven and all these things flying up in the air. I just saw this vision. No, that's his way of acknowledging that when I'm speaking to him. And there's one other thing. That person that killed him that night was on something that night.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, yep.
He's telling me, he says to me, his murderer, the person who had killed him, was on something that day, was on some type of pills, medications, drugs, something. He was completely hallucinating because how your son lost his life, there was no reason for it whatsoever. It was out of the blue. It was unnecessary. And more importantly, it's not even like there was a fight. This person who came out was yelling and screaming over something that I don't even know what it was, to be honest with you, which acknowledges to me that it was over drugs. This person was on something, and that's what it was. And they shows me there was an argument over drugs, and then he had passed.
Yeah, exactly.
So know that it's his way of coming through and clearing this through today. He says, let the justice be that I am at peace. That's what he wants to let you know. You did your part. Thank you for taking care of my family. Thank you for everything that you did. He says, and I want you to know that every day that goes by, my soul is safe and at peace. And I am always and forever by your side. Oh, wait, he just said to me, thank them for the tattoos.
Oh my God. He had like 35 tattoos.
He says to me when I'm connected, did you try to copy one of his tattoos or get one of the tattoos that he got?
Yeah.
I'm going to take I love you, Mom from a card that he gave me and have it tattooed here in his handwriting.
And he gave me his last tattoo. He used to tattoo people. He gave me the Chinese symbol for family right over my heart about a month before he died.
And then we're all going to get one in memory of him.
Perfect. He wants to let you know, thank you for doing that. So he was a tattoo artist here in this world. Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy, because he was talking about the tattoos. And he says to me, wait a minute, this is very important. Hold on. He said to me, Matt, there's a book out there with his designs in it, with tattoo designs in it. He says to me, go through that book, find that book before you do anything, because he used to sketch like designs out on paper.
Yes.
There's designs. He says, pick from that book, choose from that book. Because I saw you going and getting like a tattoo that he already made or created.
Yes. I have in my computer he would use to put his drawings in.
Hello, pay attention. So make sure that you go and use those, because he's saying to me, Matt, don't tell them, don't Google tattoos. My book. He's saying to me, I have tattoos. He's saying to me, because he was an artist. Know that that's his way of acknowledging that. He loves you all so much. And more importantly, he is safe and at peace on the other side. Thank you so much for being here. And I really hope that this brought you some comfort.